All right, guys, we are finally live. Having some technical difficulties there, but hey, better late than never. Welcome to Week 11 Panic Room. We got Tony from Fantasy Quick Hits and Kyle from Boom Bust Fantasy Football. I'm Corey from Boom Bust Fantasy Football. How are you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Doing real
Awesome.
good. Doing real good. Just want to give a real quick shout out to Melon, our streaming partner. Got my T-shirt in the mail today.
Nice. I love it. What's
Yeah.
up, Sushi Lover? We got Sushi Lover in here already. How's it going? We
Love
got
sushi.
we got Plant Man over here on IG as always. Welcome back. Welcome back. Looks like we got Piggy Bank Picks and Ice Rink Loving K Brink. I love it. Awesome, guys. Welcome in. All right. Panic Room. So, what an interesting week. It was not as bad as past weeks, in my opinion. I don't know. It was just an interesting week. We'll get into it. So, um, Kyle, what game do you want to start out with?
We will get into it. A couple of grown-ass men out there this week, but we'll get there. Let's start with Thursday night's game, New England and Atlanta. I think as far as we'll start with New England, you don't expect a lot out of these receivers necessarily anyways, so I don't think there's anything to panic on there. But boy, if you're a Damian Harris owner and you weren't panicked before, you sure are now. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about Damian Harris at all.
No.
Like at all. But that's a backfield that I typically tend to avoid anyways. But Damian Harris got everyone all excited there for a couple weeks. And I'm just going to say it. Tony called it sell, sell, sell. And
he usually does call that.
Yeah. So
Stevenson's just better.
If you did not sell, you are stuck.
Yeah, agree. What do you think, Tony?
No, I totally agree. Damian Harris, not only is he now kind of got an even split with Stevenson. Stevenson actually outtouched him. Stevenson does have a little bit of an involvement in that passing game. And Damian Harris, we've been saying it all along, but Damian Harris is the prototypical touchdown-dependent running back in fantasy. So that is not going to change. And this is going to be a very, very typical stat line, 10 carries, 56 yards. That's what you're going to get with Damian Harris. Without the touchdown, he's going to hurt you in your lineup.
Yep. You've been saying it, touchdown dependent.
Oh, he absolutely is touchdown dependent if you look at his stats.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, he was somewhat dependable, kind of getting those goal line looks. But now with Stevenson, it's beginning to split that workload. Major concern.
Yeah. Anybody else on New England that we're panicking on?
Well, I don't know if it's panicked, but it's another. Speaking of touchdown dependent, Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Henry did not have a good week, but again, touchdown dependent when he's only getting 3 targets a game. If he doesn't score a touchdown on that, then I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is very, very normal for Hunter Henry. He does not get many looks. So this is already an offense that is low volume passing attempts with Mac Jones, and Hunter Henry averages 3 to 4 targets a game. So he's very similar. He reminds me of him and kind of CJ Uzomah come from the same mold. They're both 3 to 4 target guys, very touchdown dependent. And without those touchdown catches, you just have a very low floor.
Yeah. So hopefully you sold him after last week's explosion.
He was one of our sell candidates on Wall Street.
Absolutely.
Was indeed.
Yep.
Let's jump over to the Falcons. You're not panicking on their running backs without Patterson because we knew they already sucked. I mean, it's true, right?
Yeah, it's what it is.
Gage and Pitts, another down week. Matt Ryan playing like crap again. Were we even panicking on Pitts at this point? What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
Pitts
your boy.
has,
Wear the Pitt on the hat. That's your boy.
He is my boy. He has a couple nice matchups with Jacksonville and Tampa Bay coming up. The problem right now with Pitts, and we've talked about this with other receivers and tight ends, is the gameplay of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan just looks he's the past 2 weeks he has not looked good at all. He's very suspect offensive line, and he's been struggling behind center. So as long as Matt Ryan continues to struggle, Kyle Pitts is going to struggle.
I feel like this is kind of we get this from Matt Ryan every year. He'll have a few
Yeah.
good games, and people will pick him up and think they can spot start him. He'll crap the bed a couple games, and then he'll get 30. He's so unpredictable as a fantasy quarterback. But yeah, last week and this week, he's looked rough.
Yeah,
Rough.
the next 2 weeks, you've got Jacksonville and Tampa. After that, at Carolina, at San Fran. Detroit's been very good against opposing quarterbacks, in Buffalo in Week 17. So you're a little bit panicked if you're a Matt Ryan owner, or if you have a part of this offense, if you have Kyle Pitts. I feel like maybe Cordarrelle Patterson, once he comes back, is a little bit insulated from that, because he also gets those carries out of the backfield, not necessarily relying on Ryan. But this whole offense is just out of sync right now.
It looks horrible. We got Jorge over in the chat. What's up? Zamudio. Auto
Jorge?
Sales. This is Auto Sales from over on IG. What's up? Welcome in. Thanks for coming on over from IG. Appreciate that. So yeah, that offense looks horrible.
All right, panicking on Falcons. All right, let's move on. Yeah. Let's go to Colts at Bills. And we'll bring up one of them grown ass men I mentioned briefly. 5 touchdowns for Taylor is redonkulous. I have to make an admission. I was down on him coming into the season. I've never been more wrong on anybody in my fantasy life, so I have to own that. As far as the rest of the team, I mean, Pittman had a bad game. We expected it against Buffalo. Of course, Taylor went off. All the receivers had a bad game. So
I was going to say, all they had to do was run the ball.
Not really anything to panic about there, right?
No, they just handed the ball off.
Yeah. I didn't expect Taylor to be able to run that easily against Buffalo.
All Wentz had to do was not fumble the snap or the handoff, and they were successful.
True.
Yeah.
Anybody you're panicking on there, Tony? On the Colts side?
No, I think we're gonna. I agree with you on Taylor. How can you not? I think Taylor is just beginning to take over the running back position in fantasy. He is kind of quickly emerged now as the number 1 running back to own. I think we're going to find at the end of the year that there are going to be 1 or 2 players that kind of like a common denominator on most championship teams. So Jonathan Taylor is one of those guys. Cooper Kupp is one of those guys where teams who are vying and winning championships, I would say maybe 25-30% of them are going to have Jonathan Taylor and or Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor just is that good, and this is not going to change.
No.
This was on the Buffalo defense, who is the number 1 defense in every single metric.
Yeah.
And this guy just totally lit him up. So he is involved in every aspect of this offense. He touched the ball 35 times.
Insane.
That's crazy. All right, so let's jump over to Buffalo side. Knox bounced back pretty nicely, which we kind of knew he would.
Definitely.
Being his second week back. Diggs, not great yardage numbers, couple of TDs though. Beasley and Sanders not very involved in that passing game. And then, of course, that running back situation is just getting ridiculous. So I guess, I don't think anybody still owns Breda. Nobody really expects much out of Singletary anyways. If you have Moss, you're panicking. I think if you have Sanders or Beasley, you're cautious. You're lowering expectations because they're just not getting, the work and so Sanders and Beasley had 5 targets apiece, but 3 catches for 26 for Sanders, 4 for 23 for Beasley. They're just not getting high volume. Are you panicking on them yet, or are you just kind of waiting it out for better matchups with those two?
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. Those matchups aren't there. That's the problem. I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say panicked, but you've got to be nervous in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. This Buffalo offense goes up against New England twice and Carolina, and that New England defense is Bill Belichick has them firing on all cylinders. So I don't think that that we can look for these guys to kind of get right against that New England defense and Carolina as well. So I don't know that I'm panicked. Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. You're still going to play Diggs. I do think, I'm kind of a little cautious with Sanders and with Beasley, and I agree with you on the running backs. This game script didn't help the running game. I know that
That's true.
McDermott has talked about getting more complementary with pass and run, but they just could not catch a break on Sunday, and those running backs could never get on track. So they only had 13 attempts rushing the football. Josh Allen had 2 of them, so only 11 carries to those RBs.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Just letting people know in the chat, what's up, Spy Coffee? We are going through all the games really quick for the first half of the show, and then we will pop over and answer all your questions in the chat right after that. So we'll try to hustle through all these games, and then we'll hop over to you, I promise. So, all right, Kyle.
Anything to add there on Buffalo, Corey?
Not at all.
All right. Let's hit Ravens and Bears. Of course, Marquise Brown was out. Bateman only 3 for 29. I mean, it's hard to see.
Lamar Jackson was out, so that hurt.
Jackson was out. Marquise was out. It's hard to panic on anybody playing with a backup QB. I don't think we would anyways, so I vote we move on to Chicago. Fields got hurt. Dalton came in and was instantly like a better passer right out of the gate. Mooney had a day, 5 for 121 and a touchdown. Marquise Goodwin is alive still somehow. Kmet 1 catch for 12. Are we panicking on Kmet?
I was never super high on Kmet, so
I think it's unfair to panic on Kmet because Kmet, we talked about him in DFS on Sunday, but Kmet's connection is really with Fields, and Fields was knocked out of the game.
Somebody had an autoplay ad on their computer, didn't they?
Yeah.
I hate those things so much.
I know, right?
And,
trying to look up stats and then you get an auto ad. Dang it.
Well, no, I've got up the stat line for the Baltimore Ravens game, and some type of ad just played, so that was me. But Fields was knocked out of that game.
Yeah.
And had Fields finished out that game, I don't think Cole Kmet finishes with 1 catch for 12 yards. So that had more to do with Fields and less to do with his involvement in that offense. I would look to see if Fields is going to be active this week. If Fields plays, which it doesn't look like he's going to play, then you can trust Cole Kmet. If Fields is not playing, I would not trust Cole Kmet with Andy Dalton behind center.
Yeah, from what I know, or from what I've heard, Andy Dalton is going to start this week. So
yeah, I think they already named him the starter because they play Thursday. So
yeah.
Albert makes a good point in the chat. Mooney had 16 targets, but I don't have in front of me the breakdown between how many of those were Fields and how many were Dalton. I know Goodwin. I think Goodwin got most of his from Dalton, but anyways, there's not a lot of guys here you're expecting a lot from, so not a lot to panic about really.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Lions at the Browns. Swift. That team looks horrible every week, and Swift still gets his numbers somehow every week. It's incredible. Yep. Hawkinson 6 for 51. Nobody else in that passing game is worth owning. I mean, that's not great on Hawkinson, but
I mean,
I don't think we're panicking on him, right?
No, you're getting double-digit scoring out of Hawkinson. I think you're ecstatic at this point. That should be your goal with him, is at least 10 points every week. If you're getting 10 points out of any Lions player, including Goff, you're ecstatic.
But you're expecting more out of Hawk than 10 points a game when you draft him where you draft him, right?
I mean, this is the one I called in the offseason. I was not high on Hawkinson going, some people had him in their top 3, and I was like, why? Why is he so high up there? And then the first 2 games, he scored really good, and I was like, oh, maybe that's why. But then he came back and proved me right. So anyways, I mean,
I think he's proved you right and wrong about the same amount of times this season. So we'll wait till the end and see where it's at. Tony, what do you think about Hawk?
Yeah, I like Hawkinson. This was with a backup quarterback, and Hawkinson has a as much role in his offense as any other tight end in another offense. You know, his target share 8 to 10 targets a game. It is very difficult to find that consistently at the tight end position. So his target share is there. This guy is a large tight end and a nice target for any quarterback. Goff behind center loves to lean on the tight end position. The offense is kind of designed to run through the tight end. I'm not panicked on Hawkinson.
You do make a good point, though. It was a backup quarterback. The
Oh
sad part
yeah,
is you barely notice in the numbers that it was not Goff.
yeah. I
Well, and
forgot.
it's not that Goff is a tremendous quarterback, but Goff loves even
I
in
know what
LA,
you're
even
saying.
when
I
he
was
was
just
with the
making a
Rams.
joke about how bad
Yeah, yeah,
Goff
yeah, and
is.
I hear you. But he loves to lean on the tight end. The offensive coordinator there in Detroit has a system that runs through the tight end. You know, they are going to feature Hawkinson,
Yep.
and you're just going to have a hard time finding another tight end. Just 'cause he's the opposite of the Hunter Henrys and the CJ Uzuma. You know, this guy consistently 8 to 10 targets a game. You know, he had
The
the one down
opportunity.
week 2 weeks ago, but I wouldn't worry. You're going to start Hawkinson.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh yeah, I
panicked on
have
him.
him in a league and I start him every week. I mean, how
Yeah,
could you not?
All right, let's jump over to Cleveland. Chubb had a day. Everybody else was not good.
Landry scored about 14 points, right?
Landry had 4 catches for 26 yards,
Oh, I was way off.
and he had 1 rush for a 16-yard touchdown.
There's what it was.
So he had some points, wasn't great, and I
Yeah.
think now like he's injured too. So I guess we're not really panicked on Landry, but I mean you can't rely on any of these Browns guys besides Chubb and maybe
No.
Hunt when he comes back, right?
Yeah, that's who I would lean on there.
I think for me, this is a sell high moment for Chubb.
Mm.
I'm selling Chubb.
He's
With
not
Hunt
going to have
coming
any
back.
better matchups than Detroit the rest of the way. So
I mean, he's got an elite offensive line. The problem is kind of what we saw. Now his touchdown came on a reception. He had 2 catches, 14 yards. That's where his touchdown came. And you can't just eliminate that. It's not fair to do that. That is part of his stat line. But ordinarily, he doesn't get any receptions. And with Kareem Hunt due back, Kareem Hunt owns that receiving role out of that backfield. And
yeah.
so Chubb, 22 carries for 130 yards is impressive, but it's a 13-point game because he's lacking and missing that touchdown. And so you're going to continue to get that type of stat line from Chubb. And I am concerned about what his role is going to be with Kareem Hunt back in that offense. So this might be an opportunity to sell high on Chubb if you own him.
Yeah, he'll lose at least a handful to Hunt, and I imagine Dearness Johnson will still get about the same 4 or 5 carries a game, even when Hunt comes back.
Yep.
Sure. I mean,
Uh,
Chubb still carried the ball 22 times, so he did get plenty of touches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
he is not an RB1. This guy is more of a mid RB2. He's him and Elijah Mitchell are very comparable.
yeah,
And
I'd agree with that.
when you draft Chubb though, you're drafting him to be an RB1. He's a first round draft pick.
Yep.
Right. All right, so let's jump on to Houston at Tennessee.
That was a killer for me.
Tyrod Taylor's back. Houston rushing, you're not expecting anything from. Brandon Cooks had a rough game, though. And everybody was kind of expecting him to blow up, but we're still not panicked on him, or at least I'm not. What do you think, Tony? Sit tight, right?
Yeah, I mean, who expected Houston to pull out this upset victory over the Tennessee Titans? And I think
Nobody.
Houston really leaned heavily on that. They ran the ball 38 times against this Tennessee defense.
Burkhead had
and
18 carries.
Rex Burkhead. And David Johnson had 13. So
it's just insane.
So I think that had a lot to do with that overall passing game. I'm not panicked on Brandon Cooks. I'm very high on Brandon Cooks. So this might be a good buy low opportunity for him. I am disappointed with that stat line, though. I that was a big letdown for me.
Yeah, 3 targets. 3 targets, but I mean, we see this with well, a lot of players, these game plans don't always, how the game flow goes can make a player disappear in a game, and it's not even their fault.
100%.
So yeah, I'm not panicked there. I have good faith in Brandon Cooks with Tyrod Taylor being back for sure. So I'm feeling decent about that. I'm not worried on Brandon Cooks, even though he had a horrible game.
And jumping over to Tennessee, I mean, we're also not panicking on AJ Brown yet. He's too talented, but I guess you got the lower expectations. He's starting to get a little injury prone on us. He's starting to pull a Kittle on us. He's missing, like, he's not missing multiple weeks in a row, but he's missing large chunks of every game because he has to go out with some sort of injury.
Yeah, he's spending more time in the medical tent than he is on the field.
So I guess we're lowering expectations for AJ Brown, at least for this year, at least in the foreseeable future, as he's trying to get right with these issues he's having. But the run game was weird this week. Peterson had 9 carries to Foreman's 7 and 2 catches to Foreman's 1. Is that a panic on Foreman in favor of Peterson, or is that just a fluky, weird matchup thing? What do you think, Tony?
I think that's a running back by committee in that backfield, and they don't know.
It is, but everybody's been all over Foreman this last week, and Peterson actually out-touched him, so I don't know. What do you think, Tony? Just a fluke?
No, I think it, from the sound of it and the way it looks, they're just going to go with the hot hand. So
Yeah.
it looked like Foreman was beginning to emerge as the lead running back in this committee, but it's still a committee, and none of them are really dependable unless something happens to one of them. I think you're going to continue to see this type of a split. I think, Foreman and Peterson are going to continue to have almost an even split like this. Foreman was not really involved with the passing game, so they all have a low floor. Dontrell Hilliard seemed to kind of get very involved this week, so I'd like to see, what his role is moving forward.
Hilliard had 7 carries was all, but he had 8 catches on 10 targets. He was actually, he had the most targets on the team.
Yeah, and McNichols is completely gone, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't get a single touch. It's wild. But, Hilliard could be an intriguing waiver ad this week, just as a bonus nugget.
100%.
Westbrook, I don't know how to pronounce that. Westbrook Akine, I think is how they say it, was the leading receiver. 7 catches, 107 yards.
Fluky.
I know, everybody was out grabbing Marcus Johnson as the number 2, and Westbrook actually had the better game. I think because Marcus Johnson got hurt, if I'm remembering right. He went out of the game, but I'm not sure at what point in the game. So
yeah,
total fluke, fool's gold. But yeah, I guess not really panicking on anybody there. Just lowering expectations. Now let's
just real quick, just because you have mentioned AJ Brown. They've got New England this week, and so that definitely need to lower expectations. Then they have the bye. The nice thing is, coming out of the bye, they have Jacksonville and at Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Miami. So he has a really nice slate of games coming out of the bye in week 14. So at least let's assume he gets healthy through that bye week. And I think he's going to be the type of receiver that you can depend on going into those fantasy playoffs as Tennessee makes a push for their own playoffs.
Yeah, Albert makes a good point over here, by the way. McNichols was out with a concussion, but
I thought he got hurt, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, but now with Hilliard, I mean, McNichols hasn't been that efficient. No. Hilliard was more efficient than McNichols has been all year.
That's a good point, though. I wasn't aware that he was knocked out.
So, all right.
Thanks, Albert.
All right, let's move on to Green Bay at Minnesota. This was a very high-scoring, exciting game.
I loved it.
It was really fun to watch, I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's anybody – there's nobody I'm panicking on with Green Bay. Mm-mm. Going into the week, I was a little scared about Rodgers and his toe issue, but then he went out and just owned the Vikings. So I'm not panicking on him anymore. I imagine y'all don't have anybody either. So let's move on to the Vikings, yeah?
Yep.
And honestly, I don't think there's anybody I'm panicking on here either. Everybody had a good game over here. Jefferson and Thielen both with 8 catches apiece. You know, maybe Conklin a little bit, but he's going to be an up and down touchdown dependent, just like Henry and some of those guys. So nobody to panic on here. So next game.
Yes, it was. That was an exciting game. I loved it.
It was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch.
What's interesting is, and we talked about this in our DFS show on Sunday, we all had our eyes on that Dallas Kansas City game
Yeah.
as being
Yeah.
the high scoring shootout game of the week.
Yeah.
And we all whiffed on that. It was this game here.
And then
So-
yeah, Chris Jones was invincible. What are you doing down there?
I did a swing and a miss, and I forgot it's dark in here. I forgot my microphone was right there.
Oh my goodness.
Got
Well,
the
with
lights off.
that, let's move to Dolphins at Jets. Gaskin did a little bit better with his workload this week. Waddle had an okay game, 8 catches for 65 yards. That's really good in PPR. Gesicki 5 for 50. I don't see anything to panic on with the Dolphins. I mean, you already have kind of lowered expectations. What do y'all thinking there?
Lowered
Tony?
expectations.
Tony, what are you thinking? Anybody to panic on with the Dolphins? Any thoughts?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say panic. I think you kind of saw everyone in producing in maybe in a way we expected him to. You know, Waddle did have that one carry for a touchdown, so that helped his fantasy day. Gaskin, plenty of touches for Gaskin. I was a little bit disappointed that even though Gaskin got those touches and he was able to kind of save his fantasy day on the touchdown on that reception, just his efficiency is not what you might expect against a very porous Jet defense. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not quite sure what happened there with the 23 carries for 89 yards, 3.9 average.
Yeah, that seemed very low considering the matchup. But again, we weren't expecting him to be super efficient, so not really.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see
No.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's one good thing about Gaskin is he owned the backfield.
That's true.
Yeah.
He has. Yeah, he's clearly in charge right now. We'll see what happens. Brown. They didn't activate Brown for that game, right?
They did not. And the next
No.
closest running back was Duke Johnson, who had 4 carries. So
Yeah, there were a lot of people calling for Duke Johnson to get quite a bit of work yesterday, and that didn't come to fruition. I don't know because they just signed him. Maybe next week he'll get more. Maybe they'll give him a shot with Gaskin being inefficient. But we'll see. I still think he'll get the bulk, but he might lose some touches there.
I agree.
We'll jump over to the Jets. I guess if you're a Michael Carter owner, you're a little bit panicked because of this ankle injury, 2 to 3 weeks. Should be back just in time for your fantasy playoffs. If losing him doesn't knock you out, depends on what your running back situation looks like.
Well, bad.
Trying to cover for him between Ty Johnson and Coleman's going to be pretty rough. Elijah Moore and Jameson Crowder look good. What do y'all think? Y'all panicking on Carter right now? I know Tony's not a fan anyways.
I mean, I have Carter in multiple leagues, and in my 14-man league, he's my RB2. I'm not even sure if I have an RB3 to plug in there. So, yeah, I'm unhappy with this situation. Yeah, I'm a little panicked because like the playoffs are coming up. And so I need to keep winning to make the playoffs, and I may have just been bumped out just because of Carter. So, and getting anyone to buy Carter because they're in the same situation. Everyone needs to win right now. They're on their playoff run. So who's going to trade for a hurt guy? I mean,
right.
And not even a top hurt guy. So
right.
yeah, I'm panicked, but at the same time, I can't get out of the situation. So.
Yeah,
and I think
I'm seeing the look on Tony's face, and he just can't wait to talk crap about Michael Carter. So, what do you think, man?
Okay, well, I feel bad for Michael Carter and Michael Carter owners. I've been selling this guy for a while. I think he's a bit of a mirage in terms of what we see on his production. The Jets' offense is not very good. The offensive line is one of the weakest in the league. He has, and I've talked about this before, that he's more of a in space runner. This is not a between the tackles type runner, and so his body and his build is a lot different. He's the exact opposite of a Derrick Henry type. So you got to imagine that this might be, he's a rookie, but this might be, for now at least, unless he bulks up, what we could come to expect with a Michael Carter type running back. I do have some concerns. We saw Saquon Barkley injure his ankle, missed more time than we all expected. This is a mid to high ankle sprain. It could be more. They're saying 2 to 3 weeks. This is the type of thing that could turn into a longer type injury, and it could take him a while to work back from it. I'm not really sure where to turn at the running back position. You and I, Kyle, were talking about this before we went live. Remember, Tevin Coleman followed Selah over from San Francisco. So we know that this is one of the Selah guys. And I'm not sure how this is going to work out between him and Ty Johnson. It could be a real committee between the two of them. You got to kind of have to just roll the dice and try and grab one of them.
Yeah, I really think it's going to work out where Coleman gets pretty much all of the carries, and then Ty Johnson just gets all the catches with maybe 1 or 2 change of pace type carries. But
well, they both had 1 target yesterday. So,
yeah,
and I know it's a very small sample size, but based on that, it's 50-50.
Based on that, yeah. But in previous weeks, Ty Johnson has been very involved in that passing game.
I know, but Tevin Coleman has not been, has not been active and involved with this team. So we'll see.
So
you could be right. I'm not saying you're going to be wrong. I just don't know.
Basically, it's
it is
crapshoot.
Exactly.
Flip a coin and try to get that one off of waivers.
But you're definitely panicked on Michael Carter at this point of the season, getting this type of an injury, mid to high ankle sprain.
I think I would feel safer going for Ty Johnson with that offense, getting a guy that's a little more proven in the passing game.
Sure, that's a fair point.
If you need a tiebreaker, that's what I would go with. Let's jump down here to the Saints at the Eagles, them dirty birds. I didn't expect them to beat the Saints, if I'm being honest with you. But
no, I didn't.
Not 40-29 at least.
No,
definitely.
And that 29, a lot of that came late.
Yeah. I mean, they blew them out for pretty much the whole game. I don't think there's anybody we're panicking on with the Saints. Callaway, 1 catch for a 26-yard touchdown, but I don't think anybody's really expecting anything out of him anymore. I know the shot callers have been talking up Deontay Harris for a few weeks. He's been doing all right, but 2 catches for 11 this week. But I don't think there's anybody we're panicking on. I do want to mention Troutman is some fool's gold there this week, I think. I wouldn't be running out trying to grab him off of waivers. 5 for 58 and a TD is not going to be typical for him. Y'all agree?
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, one guy just to mention real quick that you might be a little bit panicked on, and that's Kamara, because it looks like Kamara's going to is trending towards missing another week this week. So
Really?
Yeah,
that is a bit concerning to have Kamara out another week. And Ingram is getting more and more involved in this offense. 16 carries, six receptions. That's 22 touches. Not that he's going to replace Kamara, but if you're a Kamara owner, you're going to have to hope that you're not looking at a 50-50 split when he comes back, or that Kamara is used more on passing down role, kind of formations. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, if you got Kamara, it's kind of the same thing with Carter, but to a larger extent. You can't trade him because he's hurt and people are needing to win now. But yeah, you're freaking out and hoping he's back in time for the playoffs at least.
Absolutely.
Let's jump over to the Eagles.
Albert, by the way, pointed out that Troutman's out 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Probably skimmed over the Troutman news because I didn't give a crap. So okay.
Yeah, I'm just not thinking anyone. I know Troutman had a lot of preseason hype, but then I think that ended pretty early in the season, right? Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people that picked him up, and then I don't know anyone who's starting him in any of our leagues.
Yeah, by week 3, everybody was over the Troutman hype train.
I actually take that back. In my work league, someone did start him against me this week, and of course, he doubled his production of any game against me. That's the game I lost by 2, and of course Troutman doubled his production. So yeah, whatever.
You want to talk about bad luck? I had to play against Jonathan Taylor in 2 leagues this week. But on the good luck side, I won both of those matchups. So,
Ew. All right.
right?
That's
All right.
right.
So let's jump over to the Eagles side. I don't think we're playing we're not panicking on anybody over here. Devontae Smith and Goddard had pretty good games for low. Hurts was 13 of 24 for 147 yards. 123 of those were to Smith and Goddard, so we're not panicking on those. The run game, they had 50 rushing attempts. Howard, though, is going to be out, it looks like, at least for this week. I don't know how long he's expected to be out. But Sanders, back off IR, 16 carries for 94 yards, 1 target, no catches. Looks like he's going to be pretty good little workhorse with Howard out, especially this week. Hurts actually led with 18 carries, that's RB1. 18 carries for 69 yards and 3 biscuits, as Seven would say. The hashtag Biscuit King. Not panicking on anybody though, there, right, guys?
Not. No. Hurts. I know people were down on Hurts this week, and he came out and performed. I didn't expect him to run all over that offense, or that New Orleans defense like that, but he sure as heck did. So that's just the upside fantasy wise that he brings. So I'm not really panicked.
What do you think, Tony? Anything to add?
Yeah, I'm panicked on any of the running backs not named Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders absolutely reclaimed this backfield. So if you had picked up Boston Scott or Gainwell or any of these running backs while Sanders was out, their value just took a major nosedive. This,
They're pure handcuffs now.
Yeah, this backfield absolutely belongs to Miles Sanders, and definitely you're gonna reduce the value on Boston Scott or any other running backs.
Absolutely. All right. Let us jump to Washington at Carolina. Gibson had a pretty decent day considering the matchup. No catches though. He wasn't involved in the passing game at all, but 19 for 95 is a pretty good workload. McKissick had 7 carries still and only 1 catch. McLaurin 5 for 103 and 1. So people that have been panicking on Gibson and McLaurin, and stop it. Nobody I'm panicking on there, right? Logan Thomas could come back this week too, which could be exciting.
Yeah, they've got a couple players coming back possibly this week, so they've been performing pretty well, and now they get some people back. So it'll be interesting in this late run in the season how they do going into these division games.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit panicked on McKissick because if you own McKissick, you're using him as a flex starter. His value, I know he 7 carries, 46 yards, which is a nice stat line for his efficiency on just 7 carries, but his value really comes in PPR and his receptions out of the backfield. And 2 targets, 1 catch, 4 yards is not what you're looking for if you're a McKissick owner.
Especially with Gibson getting no catches either. There was just no dump downs out of the backfield. But last week he didn't have any catches out of the backfield either, did McKissick. So yeah, he's not getting those catches. So yeah, you're right. His value's completely tanked now. He's just a handcuff now to Gibson. You can't get flexible.
I'd like to see it one more week, but yeah, I mean this is the first week where we saw that type of a stat line from McKissick, so it could have just been game script. Let's see what happens this week. I wouldn't drop McKissick just yet. I'd hold him for now.
All right, let's jump over to Carolina. Cam Newton looked better than I expected, coming back and starting a full game. Him and McCaffrey had the same number of carries though, and Cam had the rushing TD. McCaffrey though 7 receptions on 8 targets for 60 and a TD. Moore, Robbie Anderson both look better with Cam.
Yeah.
So if you were panicking on Moore before, maybe not so much anymore, right?
And Robbie Anderson.
Anderson
was about that last week, but
Anderson was dropped 10 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cam has just brought that offense back alive a little bit, and it was nice to see McCaffrey be able to produce uh, with that. But man, those wide receivers, I feel all of a sudden I feel a little bit more comfortable. Which I never thought I would say I'd feel more comfortable for a wide receiver coming from Cam Newton, but
Right.
um, it's just the chemistry is just better. He just brings a different kind of energy to that offense right now that wasn't there before, and he brings that mobility that if the offensive line isn't doing their job, he can evade and keep plays alive better. I mean, yeah, he's making that offense just better.
So what do you think, Tony? Was it matchup based, or are we unpanicking on Carolina receivers?
Well, I think we have to look at each receiver differently. This is more of what we expected from Robbie Anderson this year. So with this type of an involvement in the offense, where he had 6 targets and DJ Moore had 7, Caffrey had 8 targets. I don't think we're going to see that every week. I think Carolina might have identified something and included or involved Christian McCaffrey more in that passing game. So so we have to kind of see how this breaks down this coming week. But Robbie Anderson, certainly you're gonna try and grab him. We talked about him last week about being a guy who could surprise. He does have a chemistry with Cam that he did not have, even though people were talking about his chemistry with Darnold. Really wasn't there. At least we didn't see it in Carolina.
Yeah.
DJ Moore also very similar. Robbie Anderson 5 for 30, DJ Moore 5 for 50. DJ Moore was nice to see him get a little bit more on track, but still not what you were kind of maybe hoping for based on what his production was earlier in the season, where he was producing like a top 10 receiver.
Yeah.
So I think both of these guys moving forward, maybe DJ Moore is a low end 2, high end 3, Robbie Anderson more like a low end 3 flex type receiver, unless we see something different come out of this offense. But you definitely have to be optimistic. You're feeling better about them at this point than you were last week. They do have their bye week 13, Miami this week, so it'll be interesting to see. Miami has not been very, very strong against opposing quarterbacks, so it'll be nice to see how Cam does against this Miami defense this week and what that breakdown looks like.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, DJ Moore looked better, but probably still not what could have been against that Washington.
Oh, right.
That horrible Washington defense. It could have been so much better probably, but it is what it is. Let's head over to Niners at the Jags. Let's see. Jeff Wilson, 19 for 50. Debo is a full-grown man. If you grabbed Wilson and you see Sermon get 10 carries still, was that a fluke? Are you panicking on Wilson, thinking it might level out a little bit, or was it just because they got such a lead? You think? What do you think, Tony? You worried about Sermon?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, Wilson still owned the backfield, so it wasn't nowhere near an even split. Jeff Wilson, 19 carries. The problem with Wilson is against this Jacksonville defense, his efficiency is kind of at a rock bottom.
Yeah. And I mean, you got Debo Samuel acting as a pure running back for 8 carries and a touchdown. Ayuk was their leading receiver, followed by Kittle. Debo only had 1 catch for 15 yards. So
no.
You think they're transitioning him to running back, or is it just because Mitchell's hurt?
I just think the guy's so talented, they're trying to get him involved wherever they can on the field. Maybe Shanahan has watched some of the game tape from the Atlanta Falcons and said, hey, Cordell Patterson is involved all over the offense. We could do the same thing with Debo.
That's exactly what they're doing, yeah.
Going back to Jeff Wilson, that 2.6 average per carry is that's very anemic. It's hard to trust that moving forward. If he couldn't get it going against his Jacksonville defense, I'm not quite sure what his role is going to look like in upcoming weeks, depending on Elijah Mitchell's injury situation with the finger.
He doesn't have horrible matchups though. Minnesota, Seattle, Cincy, Atlanta, Tennessee, and Houston through championship week there. So
Yeah.
I don't know how long Mitchell will be out. Probably not. Probably will be back this week, even possibly. So might not have to worry about it either way. But if Mitchell's out again, you definitely can't trust Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, and if anything else, I think one of the things we can read out of this a lot is Elijah Mitchell's going to have a lock on that running back position when he comes back, because Elijah Mitchell's a different type of runner.
Yeah,
he is. I mean, even he passes the eye test for sure when you watch him play.
100%.
Even Sermon, he was only 3.2 per carry, so he wasn't much better than Wilson. Nobody's going to take over that backfield from Mitchell like ever. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. When Mitchell's back and Debo's maybe receiving a little bit more, do you still trust Ayuk enough to start him right now?
I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of situation your team's in. I'm trusting him more than I was earlier in the season. It feels like he's gotten back on track, is more involved. I mean, do I trust him to do that all the time? No, but I also don't own him in any leagues anymore either. But he seems to be getting the. I mean, he had 7 for 7 receiving. That's pretty dang good. I just don't trust him necessarily in my lineup. If I have other options, I'm probably going with them.
What do you think, Tony? You got that smirk going over there.
I got what?
You always have like this little smirk when you think of something. You're like,
look. If there's anything you know about me, I have takes on everybody.
oh yeah.
You know, I have to be honest. I think Ayuk is changing my mind.
Oh no!
I did not anticipate this from him, especially with Kittle back. You know, Debo is number 1, Kittle is 1A, and Kittle is 1B. But Ayuk is definitely has definitely done whatever he needed to do to get the trust of both Shanahan and Garoppolo, and he looks incredible. On top of that, they have one of the easiest remaining schedules for receivers: Minnesota, Seattle, Cincinnati, and then in the playoffs 15, 16, 17, Atlanta, Tennessee, and Houston. So
Right.
you've got to like your spot if you own Brandon Ayuk. And for those of us who panicked on him earlier, might have made a mistake kind of unloading this guy, because with his target share in that schedule and his what appears to be his new involvement in this offense, you might have something there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that remaining schedule. Holy crap!
Or he can come out next week and catch 2 passes for 5 yards and call it a day. So
I was gonna say, does that schedule bode well to Elijah Mitchell, Kittle, and Deebo Samuel just going crazy instead of Ayuk, who's still the number 3 option receiving in that.
What's nice about that matchup is they're great matchups for receivers, but they're all horrible matches for your defense because they're going to score points. So I could see Ayuk having a pretty good rest of the season also.
Here's the thing: the past 4 weeks, he's averaged just under 7 targets a game. So this is not a 1-game fluke,
right?
8, 7, 4, 7. So, sometimes it's hard to do, but you have to recognize where maybe you miss on a player, good or bad. And this might be one of those guys where we kind of jumped off that bandwagon based on what we were seeing and hearing out of San Francisco, and a guy now who's beginning to emerge as maybe what a lot of people were hoping for going into the season.
2 touchdowns in the last 3 games.
I mean, the guy's starting to come on, so you've got to be ready to jump on a guy like this when he is trending in the right direction. He's trending in the right direction.
Yeah, right. It's so tough though. Like those last 3 games, he was really high, 18.7 points, then really low at 5.6, and back up again at 21.5. Are we looking at a Tyler Lockett sort of situation
I
here?
don't think so. I think no player posts 26 games everywhere, and that's hard to do. So, they're going to be ups and downs throughout the course of the season. You're looking for someone who has the ongoing target share and involvement in that offense. And Ayuk seems to be, and they're looking his way now in the red zone, down near that end zone. So,
yeah. All right, let's
he's
move
very
on to the
intriguing.
Jags.
If you got him, you got to like the fact that you own him. Because here's
Let's
what
move on.
happens.
Let's move on so we can get to chat questions, please.
Yeah, let's go.
We just keep every time I start to say let's move on, Tony's got another thought. Let's just.
Well, I was
I
responding
think
to
we've
Corey's.
covered it at this point.
I was responding to Corey's question about
There's
him.
no stats left to talk about, Tony. You've hit them
Let's move
all.
on.
There's nothing left.
I am the professor, so I like to kind of
So
investigate.
Jacksonville lost Jamal Agnew for the season.
Ugh.
James Robinson, not a great game, but they quit running because they fell behind. Jones Chenault still awful, but we were done with them anyways, right? So nobody knew to panic on for Jacksonville.
I could agree with that.
Tony?
Moving on to Cincinnati.
Just answer the questions.
All right, I'm only teasing. So we asked me about Jacksonville?
Yeah.
No, we're moving on now. Bengals at Vegas.
I have feedback on Jacksonville.
All right, then hit us with it.
Surprise.
I'll make this one quick.
Hit us with it, man.
Yeah. So if you're in a league that is still open for trades, this is a buy low opportunity for James Robinson.
Yeah, true. That is true.
Game script did not allow this guy to get involved in the offense this week. 12 carries, 29 yards. He did save his day with that touchdown. That's going to change. So this could be an opportunity for you to buy low on him.
Yep.
Not panicked.
Not panicked. Buy him everywhere. All right, now we're moving on to Cincinnati at the Raiders. Mixon did his thing. Chase still got a TD, not quite the receiving numbers we've come to expect. Boyd was actually the leading receiver, probably a little bit because they had such a lead. Higgins 2 for 15. He continues to dwindle. Uzomah 2 for 9. Still not there, but nobody to panic on for the Bungles, right? Either of you jump in anytime.
This is exactly so we missed on Ayuk. We totally nailed it with Jamar Chase and this receiving core. I talked about this earlier in the season that they were going to have a brutal schedule and that they were not going to be able to sustain that pace. So Jamar Chase, 3 catches, 32 yards. The touchdown saved his day for the day. I think you're going to see more stat lines like that moving forward from this from the Bengals offense.
And we also called the Uzomah. I mean, him and Hunter Henry are 2 peas in a pod. So
3 targets, 2 catches, 9 yards. His stat line looks a lot different when you take away those 2, touchdowns that are anomaly every once in a while.
Yep. All right, so let's jump over to the Raiders. Jacobs and Drake both had terrible rushing days. But like you say, they were behind early. Waller, nice bounce back, 7 receptions on 8 targets for 116 yards. Renfro didn't do anything near what you expected, neither did Drake in the passing game. Jacobs had 5 catches, though. You panicking on Drake?
Since being the first to make white.
Another auto ad. I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. Panicked on Drake.
A couple of weeks ago, he looked amazing, and now all of a sudden, he's barely involved.
He looked amazing because of the touchdowns.
Yeah, a couple of long ones.
He had a lot of touchdowns.
Jake, we'll get to your questions after we're done covering the games, but I promise.
Yeah, we will. It's I just think, like Tony said, he had those 3 touchdowns in 2 games, made him look really good. That next week he just had I mean, he had 8 targets, so 6 receptions for 70 yards. I'm just gonna stop because I can't speak English, but I just think he's back at the expectations I had him before. He was exceeding expectations for about 3 games there, and now he's back where he was before.
Anything to add, Tony?
Yeah, he's going to be a game script running back. I mean, Jacobs also only touched the ball 9 times. I think it was just the game script this week. Raiders trying to climb back into this game. So it has more to do with game script than anything else. Kenyon Drake's going to have a real role in this offense. That said, he's never going to be anything more than a flex starter unless something happens to Josh Jacobs. I think I'm a little bit panicked on Josh Jacobs because he just cannot get himself going as a rock solid RB2. He seems to be more like a kind of mid to low end RB3. Did get some involvement in that passing game, but his stat line, you just can't be happy if you drafted Josh Jacobs in the 2nd round to be your RB2 this year.
So what about Hunter Renfrow? Is it going to be him or Waller from week to week? Can we just expect that to be, or was this just kind of a fluky deal? Because, I mean, they're behind, they're throwing the ball, but Renfrow.
It was just a fluky. I think it was just a fluky deal. Renfrow is the de facto #1 receiver in that offense without Ruggs. You heard a lot coming out of that Raider, the Raider camp this week about how defenses are bracketing Darren Waller to take him out of the game. I mean, defenses are game planning against Darren Waller. So as much as it pains me to say this because I have stock in Darren Waller, I don't know that we can expect this type of a stat line from him every week. I think that Hunter Renfrow is still going to be that primary receiver in this offense, just based on how teams are stacking and bracketing Waller.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, Waller is the best player on the team. But opposing defenses know that, and they kind of have schemed against him.
Yeah, they focus on him because of that.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on down to Dallas at Kansas City.
Next.
What a game, man. Honestly, both teams kind of sucked. Kansas City just sucked a little less.
That defense looked decent.
Chris Jones looked like Superman.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't block him. But just looking at these players, Zeke, Pollard had terrible days. Everybody had a terrible day, honestly. Lamb got a concussion. I wouldn't say to panic on anybody, though, because they'll have better matchups in the future. In fact, their schedule gets real nice down the stretch. So
yeah,
don't panic on your Cowboys. Either y'all got anything to add on the Cowboys?
Other than Schultz, I'm a little bit nervous about them this week. Because I don't know that CeeDee Lamb's gonna pass the concussion protocol for Thursday's game.
I don't think CeeDee Lamb.
I don't know.
Gallup and Cedric Wilson starting Thursday, but they play.
I don't know
they play Detroit, so
I understand. But somebody has to catch the football, and if they're down Lamb and
just run Zeke and Pollard all day.
Easiest
Pollard, but Zeke is also banged up. So it looks like he's trending towards playing. I'm just saying that. I have stock in Dak, and I'm not excited about starting Dak this week if he's without Cooper and without Lamb. Schultz looks like he's a solid start, and we have to wait and see what the injury report says about Zeke.
Yeah, I think Gallup's a good play this week too. Cedric Wilson plays fine. He had a pretty gnarly drop yesterday, but he did pretty good in some spots while Gallup was out, so I think they'll be okay. You're not going to see the 400-yard, 3 or 4 touchdown game from Dak because I do think they'll go a little more run heavy, even if it's just Pollard and not Zeke.
And they're playing Vegas, right? They're not playing.
Oh, I thought they were playing Detroit this week.
No, Detroit and Dallas never play against each other on Thanksgiving. They always have their own separate games.
That's true. Okay, brain fart on my part.
They wouldn't play each other.
But still, you can run on Vegas. So
that's our team versus Tony's team for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I guess if you didn't trade Darrell Williams or whatever, you're panicked on him because Edwards-Helaire came back and owned that backfield. But honestly, I don't think you're panicking on anybody for Kansas City either.
No.
Let us move on then. Cardinals at Seahawks. A little bit to unpack here. So Ertz comes out of nowhere. Connor still had a good game. Rondale Moore, 11 targets for 11 catches and 51 yards. That's not a lot of yards for 11 catches, but
That's a Cole Beasley type of day right there.
yeah. So it looks like even, like some of these guys. Now Kirk wasn't very involved, which is a little shocking. AJ Green and Moore had your big days.
Just remember, Colt McCoy started, so
yeah, I know that's what I said.
This offense is going to look different without Kyler Murray.
Oh, Kyler Murray, be worried. Colt McCoy coming for that QB1.
No, I was just saying Ertz comes out of nowhere because of Colt McCoy, and then he obviously prefers like AJ Green to Kirk, and Moore was busy, but nobody to panic about here.
I saw this earlier, and while we're on it though, what do we think about D-Hop? What's an update on D-Hop? And you're not panicked on D-Hop, right? Because of his injury.
No, definitely not.
I mean, he should be close to be coming back.
Yeah, D-Hop's one of Tony's guys. Sometimes I can't tell if Tony can hear us or not.
I can hear. Yeah, D-Hop is definitely one of my guys. I think it's a buy low opportunity on Hopkins. I like to see him get healthy during this bye week, but coming back from the bye week, I'd love to have D-Hop on my roster wherever I can get him.
Yeah, honestly, this bye week comes at a good time. I like for having him as a player, not necessarily for your playoff run, but you're kind of happy, especially if you have him already and you're already making the playoffs. You're happy because he should come back pretty healthy after that bye.
So. Well, I think they've been eyeing the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've been holding him out. They're 9-2. They know their record. They know their matchups. They know the schedule. Same thing with Kyler Murray. Let's not rush these guys back. It's a long season.
They're winning without him.
And let's roll them out coming out of the bye week. So I think coming out of the bye week, you want Kyler Murray and you want D-Hop. Now, if it turns out that D-Hop's injury is more serious or significant than we thought, that's a different story. I haven't read anything to suggest that's the case.
No, me either. I think they're just being cautious because they can afford to.
Yep.
Same way with Kyler. So,
yeah,
I agree with that.
Yep.
Jumping over to Seattle, obviously this running game's atrocious. Russell Wilson played like crap. Lockett still had a day. 4 catches for 115 yards. Metcalf 4 for 31. The rest of the passing game was anemic. Anybody you're panicking on there?
Tony, we'll let you go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm panicked. I don't know when is it that we unpanic on this team? Russell got hurt earlier in the season. Geno Smith comes in. We had to knock DK. We had to knock Tyler Lockett. We were all waiting for Russ to come back. It's been 2 weeks. Last week they said that was a rust game. Next week he'll be much better. And they just seem to be really struggling on offense. I think that they're having a difficult time because they don't have a running game. They're very one-dimensional. And the offensive line is not playing very good football. They just cannot protect Russell. They can't give an opportunity to get the ball downfield. And Tyler Lockett had a decent game, 4 catches, and these are the types of games that Tyler Lockett can produce on a small number of looks and catches. I don't know that we can trust him. So I am a little bit nervous. They have Washington this week. So this has got to be that Washington is the worst defense against opposing quarterbacks. This has got to be a get-right game for Russell. If they cannot get on track this week, their schedule is not the easiest. They have the Niners, they have the Rams, they have the Bears during the fantasy playoffs. So, we need to see this team get on track. I am a little bit nervous.
Bears is a fine matchup. But, if they can't get right against Washington, you can't start anybody there. It's just not possible. Anything to add there, Corey?
No, other than I was just expecting more from Wilson coming back off his injury. And
I was too. This week especially.
I gave him the excuse that first week back, and now I have nothing for it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump down to Pittsburgh at the Chargers. I don't really see anything worth worrying about except for, I don't know. I mean, Firemouth lost some targets to Ebron, but I think Ebron got hurt again. So if I'm not mistaken, if I am mistaken, either way, I'm not panicking on Firemouth. You agree with that? He's
Yeah.
still a better tight end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, Firemouth had 7 targets.
Ebron did get hurt, by the way.
Yeah, I thought so.
Firemouth had 7 targets. So, at the tight end position, you're happy with 7-8 targets a game.
Yeah, very much so. And
Ben loves this kid. I think Ben loves the tight end. They look at him in the red zone. They look at him down, by the goal line. And although he didn't have a great fantasy day, 4 catches, 11 yards, he did get that touchdown catch, which really saved it for him.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump over to the Chargers. Mike Williams finally getting a little bit right. We've been waiting for it for a month and a half after he started off hot. Eckler went full grown ass man on us. I don't see anything here to panic about.
Nope.
No, Mike Williams is one of the buy low. He was the guy we were talking about going down the stretch that you were going to want to try to get. You can get him cheap, and he gives you just a huge ceiling. And so it'll be interesting to see what he does moving forward.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to the Monday night game. The Giants at Tampa Bay. Barkley's back, still only got 6 carries, but he also got 6 catches. So I haven't followed up yet to see if how he was feeling after the game or nothing, but he appears to be back, doing pretty well. Kadarius Toney, not you, Tony, Kadarius Toney, 7 catches for 40 yards on 12 targets. He's obviously the guy there when he's healthy, but I think he got hurt again tonight. This kid gets hurt in every single game, which is very unfortunate. Galladay's still worthless. I guess if you're holding on to Galladay, you're panicking. Otherwise, or maybe even Toney, you're panicking because they just can't stay healthy. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I agree.
I'll call on you so there's no awkward silences.
Yeah, no, I agree. Toney definitely seems to be the receiver to own in that offense. Daniel Jones has been struggling though. Mm-hmm. His QBR for tonight was 15.4, which is really ridiculously low. 23 for 38. And that really is the weakness
this year, though. So it's not.
That's the weakness of this Tampa Bay defense, though, is kind of that passing D. So the fact that he had such a pedestrian game against this Tampa Bay defense is concerning. That said, if you have Toney, you almost have to start him. I kind of view him as maybe a high-end flex, low-end 3. I don't know that you can trust him on a weekly basis, though.
No, just he's a matchup play, right?
Basically, I think so, yeah.
Anything to add there, Corey?
No, I agree completely. I don't have anything to add to that. That's why I let Toney go first. It makes my job easy.
So then let's move over to the Bucs side. Evans had another good game. Gronk looks to be fine. 6 catches for 71 yards. Godwin had a good game. Are we panicking on Fournette getting 10 carries and Ronald Jones getting 8? Are they trying to work Ronald Jones back into that offense, or was it just because they had the lead?
I think that comes down to they had the lead probably there. Because Ronald Jones Fournette has owned that backfield. I don't know why they would all of a sudden just throw Ronald Jones in there. Otherwise.
Yeah. Fournette still had 6 catches also, which is
crazy for Fournette.
Not what you were looking for against this Giants defense, though. I think
no.
Fournette,
that's his highest receiving numbers he's had, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely gives him a high floor. But Fournette earlier in the season was putting up RB1 numbers, and I think that's kind of what you come to expect from him. He was a guy in Wall Street we had as a sell high, especially with this upcoming schedule. He's got Indianapolis next week. During the fantasy playoffs, remember, and I talked about this, weeks 14, 15, and 16, he has the worst schedule for running backs. He has Buffalo, New Orleans, and at Carolina. And so
Buffalo doesn't look so scary anymore.
That's a one game. One game.
Jonathan Taylor, at least.
One game. One game. I still think that, I'd rather have another running back that I can lean on than Fournette with that type of a schedule down the stretch.
Yeah, Fournette is no Jonathan Taylor by any means. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely trending downward, which is something to cause concern for sure. I'm not hitting full blown panic button, but I'm hovering over it. You know what I mean? Fixing
Right.
it. All right, so that wraps up our games. Corey, let's jump over here in the chat, my guy, and hit some of these questions. It's a good thing 7 o'clock moved safe space to before. We wouldn't have been off of here in time tonight for him. Probably. You don't
Or
have
I
any
think you're on
audio, my
mute.
guy. Yeah, you're muted. Over there talking
Mother
Instagram.
trucker. Sorry about that. Going back and forth between this and IG. I was caught on mute. All right. Should I trade Patterson? Guys, I have Najee Harris, Connor. I have no need to trade him, though. I have Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Knox,
Sit tight.
Gronk.
You don't
Yeah,
need to
if
trade
you have
him.
no need to trade him, then
Don't trade him.
I wouldn't trade him, Jorge, and here's part of the reason why. It's because Chase Edmonds is due back from short-term IR, and I'm not sure when they're expecting him back, but you're going to want to have a guy like Patterson for when Edmonds comes back. He gives you another option to start.
Yep.
And if we learned anything this year, it's nice to have depth. So if you're in a dual eligible league for Patterson, it's nice to be able to start him at either the running back or the receiver position.
That's no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked about this because that's why I brought it up earlier. But thoughts on D-Hop? Should I trade him away? We said no.
No. Here's why, Spy Coffee. Number one, you're never going to get value for D-Hop now. You're just never going to get what he's worth. This guy, the last 4 seasons, finished wide receiver 4, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 5. Like, he's been a top 5 receiver the past 4 years. He's been injured, so his value is gone, but do not panic on him. You're going to hold him. You're going to want him if he comes back from this bye week healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, him and Kyler both coming back. Woo. All right, let's see. Brian, 16-team PPR. Woo. Could have survived starting Fields on Stafford's bye. Bateman, Marcus Johnson, Tyler Bass, Titans D. Uncle Lenny outscored Tony by 6.5 points tonight. Rojo TD Vulture killed me. No.
That bites. Sorry about that, Brian.
Vultures. That sucks.
That's rough.
16 team. That's also tough. Let's see. What's up, New Life? Welcome back. Appreciate you coming back. Hey guys, Ramondre Stevenson is on waivers. Is he worth a first waiver claim?
I'd say so. I mean, it depends on what else is on waivers, but you're not going to get anything better than that, probably.
Yeah,
especially just late in the season. My God.
Yeah.
So here's what I would be thinking. New Life is absolutely Ramondre Stevenson. The problem with Ramondre is, remember, he's in a committee, so he's splitting carries with Damian Harris. And Belichick, he just does the craziest things. Even though Ramondre looks great, he could be a healthy scratch the next 2 weeks. You just never know with Bill Belichick.
He's drawing active players out of a hat every week. So
yeah, so it's not that I don't like Stevenson, but I would probably be looking for one of those jet running backs. With Michael Carter out, it looks like he's going to be missing at least 2 to 3 weeks. If you're not looking Stevenson, maybe you're looking for a Ty Johnson type guy on waivers.
And I'd rather have Stevenson if he's available. And you got the top claim. Yeah, I'd rather have him.
I'm not suggesting it's not Stevenson. I'm just throwing another guy out there that is going to be very popular on waiver pickup.
Yep. He also wants to know, is Darrell Williams dropping?
100%.
Yep. Unless you own CEH and want a handcuff, then yeah.
Yeah, Darrell Williams is out.
We talked about him last week, I think, in Wall Street. Buy low on CEH coming back from his injury. People were concerned that he was going to be splitting carries with Darrell Williams. That is, CEH owns this backfield. It belongs to him. Darrell Williams had 2 touches going into the fourth quarter. The touches he wound up with were due to kind of being end of the game and them taking CEH out and kind of putting in his backup. So Darrell Williams absolutely droppable.
Yep.
One last thing. I'm sorry. The only reason why I wouldn't drop Darrell Williams is if you have roster space for him and you own CEH.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I
Good
said.
handcuff.
Just to have that cuff.
One real quick from IG. Should I drop Russell Wilson for Cam Newton? Stafford is their starter, but
Yikes.
yeah, Russell Wilson for Cam Newton. This is
I
for a
don't think I
backup.
would. I don't think I would. I'd give it another week on Wilson, I think, but I mean, he's your backup. Does it really matter? I'd rather Russell Wilson not get his crap together and go off for somebody else's team.
What do you think, Tony?
It's close. It shouldn't be, but it is. I think Cam has. We all wanted to see him and what he looks like. I think Cam gives you a little bit of a higher ceiling. He has some very nice matchups. He's got Miami this week. He has Atlanta after their bye, week 14, one of the best matchups for quarterbacks. He plays Tampa, New Orleans, and Tampa again, week 16, 17, and 18. And he does play the Buffalo defense in week 15. So what I would do is you said something about Stafford. He owns
That's
Stafford.
his starter. Yeah, that's his starter.
Yeah.
So this is for his backup gig.
I mean, is there any situation where you're not going to start Stafford? I think if depending on Stafford's schedule, if it complements Stafford better than Russell, then you could actually consider doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Cam has a bye week left, but again, like, you're not benching Stafford for probably either one of them.
Well,
No.
Stafford
Stafford
plays Arizona week 14. So he's got it's a little bit of a tougher matchup for him. Week 14, so Cam has Atlanta week 14. For me, as much as I love Stafford, I'd almost rather start Cam in that spot.
That's true. Because Matt Stafford played against Arizona week 4 and had 23.3 points. It was one of his lower scoring games, but that's still not horrible. Yeah, I guess I just become nervous about starting players against Atlanta just because they get so far ahead, they pull their starters in the fourth quarter. You only get 3 quarters out of your players against Atlanta nowadays. So
that's fair.
But they still rack up points while they're in there. And I
don't think we have to worry about Carolina running up a score like that, though.
With Cam Newton, my man. Just kidding.
The same way Dallas and New England did.
Oh, that's actually a tough call. So did we come to a consensus on Cam or Russ?
I think I'd rather hang on to Russ, but Tony makes a good point with the schedules. That Cam matchup, it lines up better. Like, I'm okay with it, but
flip a coin.
Yeah, for me, it's flip a coin.
Yeah,
I just think that I'm concerned about Russell. I'm concerned about that Seahawk offense.
Looks bad.
Concerned about the offensive line, and it just you gotta be ready to move on from certain players, even though it can be tough to do. And I just think based on what we've seen the past 2 weeks, and Cam, look, it's only Cam's second game back. It's really his first full game. He's only going to get more comfortable.
Yep.
And I just think the ceiling for him, he's got a bye in week 13. So that's another 2 weeks, a full bye. This guy's going to be even more prepared. He's healthy. I just think his ceiling is much higher.
I think his floor is much higher.
I would agree with that too. Yeah, because of those rushing yards.
Yeah, I think his floor is just way higher than Russ's.
I would agree.
Never thought I'd be saying that, but yeah, I think I would go Cam over Russ in that situation. Russ lost me this week.
I'm still a Russ fan. I own Russ in multiple spots, so I'm not anti-Russ, but if somebody offered me Cam for him, I would take it.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about Brandon Ayuk earlier, but should it start him next week?
I don't even know who's playing next week yet.
I'm about to tell you. He is playing Minnesota.
Yeah, I like that matchup for him.
Tony, you're not in there, I think.
Depends who your other receivers are.
That's kind of.
I mean, it's hard to answer that not knowing who we're picking him against. I think you can look at Ayuk as based on what we've seen from him in the past 4 weeks. I think going into that matchup, you can definitely view him as a kind of a high end 3, maybe low 2 receiver. But I'd still like to see who your other options are.
Yeah, I'm curious on that too. You're welcome, fried chicken. So let's see.
Wait, there's somebody in the chat named Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Just real quick too on that one question, Minnesota is in the bottom 3 for defenses against opposing receivers, so it's a really good matchup for him.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. So,
and we just saw what Green Bay did to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was sick. So I have Russell Wilson. But I'm still in need of wide receiver off the waiver. Should I stick with Russell Wilson or get a backup QB just in case?
I'm not sure I understand that question. How it fits together
very
with
confused.
receiver.
Yeah, it seems like a hybrid of 2 different questions that got molded into one.
Yeah, I'm confused. Should I stick with Russell Wilson or get a backup QB? Okay, let's move on to another one because I'm confused.
By the way, just real quick on that question though, if you're going to drop, no, because I think we can respond to a little bit.
You're
of it.
fine. I just thought that was funny.
Well, James, if James is still here, maybe he could just clarify it for us, and then we could circle back.
Oh, just real quick, I just want to make a quick comment.
Go ahead, man.
If you're going to post more information, James, it would be helpful to know what backup quarterback you're talking about. Like if you're going to drop Russell for a backup quarterback, who is it that's on waivers that you're talking about swapping him up for? If you're going to swap him out for Taysom Hill, then no, or Trevor Siemian, then no.
Let us know what wide receivers are available on waivers too.
Yeah, I just got to clarify the question, but
yeah, James, if you're still here, just maybe clarify for us exactly
what we're
looking at there.
AJ Brown, rest of season. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think he'll have good games and bad games, just like the whole year so far. He seems to be getting hurt every week, at least a little bit too. So I don't know. I think with no Derrick Henry and no Julio Jones too, he's probably a mid wide receiver too the rest of the year, somewhere in that range. What do you think, Tony?
Well, as you guys all know, I have a lot of stock in AJ Brown.
Give us your non-biased opinion here.
So I'm going to try and give you my non-biased opinion. I'd rather have AJ Brown than not have him. Tough matchup. I think the next 2 weeks you're not going to be able. Obviously, in week 13 he's on a bye. This upcoming week he's at New England, and I think that's going to be a brutal matchup.
Yeah.
Their defenses looks ridiculous. They're very, very strong against opposing wide receivers. Belichick is going to game plan AJ Brown out of that game. So you have to lower expectations. You almost have to start him if you have him and he's healthy and he's playing. But after the bye week, things look a lot better. They're at Jacksonville, at Pitt, San Francisco, Miami, and at Houston. That's a great 5-game stretch. And it's, you get that extra week to get healthy. I'm not panicked or nervous about AJ Brown. I like him a lot rest of the season.
Okay, so you playing AJ Brown versus New England or Mooney against Detroit?
Oh, AJ Brown, come on. Don't be silly.
I don't trust Mooney enough to play him over AJ Brown.
I was testing the loyalty here.
Don't be silly. Like, he hurt me, but not that bad.
Not only am I not starting Mooney is available on waivers, and I'm not even going to pick him off waivers. So,
oh, that's funny.
So
Matt
James,
Gay or Nick?
Hold on. Before you move on, James circled back and clarified for us at the bottom here. Actually, yeah, because there's a couple.
Oh my
there.
gosh, I have to scroll too far, so you just read it off.
I'll just read it. He says, "I only have one person on my bench that's droppable. He's wondering if he should use that slot for another receiver or a QB to back up. He's keeping Russell Wilson either way. It sounds like Russell's his backup, or it's his starter maybe." He says, to give more context, there's only chumps for every position in that league. So I guess in that, like,
who are you dropping and who are you looking to pick up?
I am curious who your
It would be
droppable
helpful to
guy
have
is, but
have some names. Tell us who you're dropping and tell
it
us who's
sounds like you can
available.
pretty much drop and pick up whoever you want. Like I said, we don't know who your receivers are, but I'd probably go that direction unless you need. I don't know. Wilson does kind of suck, but if there's only chumps available, you're not going to get better. It sounds like so.
Right. That's funny. Only chumps. Matt Gay or Nick Folk rest of the season?
Matt Gay.
Give me Folk. He's been doing pretty nice for me.
So
It's kickers. Who cares?
well, but it's a question. So
I don't care.
was
Folks
that?
had a really nice year for me on my teams.
Yeah, I get that, but Folk also kicks in New England. We're going into the brutal months of the season with snow and wind. Matt Gay kicks in LA where it's domed and in a non-issue.
Pretty.
So I would lean Matt Gay over Nick Folk at this point of the season.
Yeah.
That's actually exactly where my mind went, was weather changing.
Yeah.
But also Nick Folk's gonna probably do fine. These guys are
He'll
pros.
probably
But
be
yeah, I
fine.
think I'm going Matt Gay there too, just
He might
because
fall
like
off
that
a
weather.
little bit, but he's still.
If I tell you he plays at Buffalo 12-6 on a bye, at Indianapolis 12-19, then he's home against Buffalo and Jacksonville in what could be brutal weather in New England.
We are
I'm not
spending way too
necessarily
much
wanting
time on a
Folk as a
kicker
kicker.
question.
What's that?
Way
Shut
too
up,
much
Tom.
time on a kicker question.
In
So James
defense, though,
James
but
came
in
back real
defense,
quick.
week 16, Matt Gay plays at Minnesota, and then week 17 at Baltimore. So he's not
Fair.
playing in that beautiful inside weather. So
Is it Minnesota domed?
oh, that's true. Yep, you're right. They're not in that outdoor field anymore. They're done.
I got answers for everybody.
Yeah, I would go Matt Gay.
All right, 2 for Gay, 1 for Folk. So
Gay.
Mark James circled back. He said the guy he's dropping is Komet. Honestly, I'd probably keep Komet if there's nothing better on waivers.
Drop
Just
Komet.
Which it sounds like
pick up-
there's not
But pick
anything
up
better.
who? Who are we picking up?
I don't know. He said chumps, so I don't think you're going to get better than Komet.
Well, then
on
you're not
waivers.
picking up chumps. I mean, unless we know names, I can't even tell you what to do with that because I don't know who you're looking at picking up over
Here we
Komet.
go.
And I don't even know who your other tight ends are.
Yeah, that's tough. Not enough info.
Bo Pucks were behind because we went through all of the games and hit our panic players first. We just
Yeah.
started on questions not long ago.
But we're trying to get through them quick here for you guys. Do you think 49ers are in the playoffs this year? That's not a
It's going to be tough in that division.
fantasy, but it's going to be really tough. But they're looking really good.
They're
So,
looking pretty good. But
they
that
may have
division's
started too
tough.
good, too little, too late.
Yeah. I don't think they make it.
I don't think so either. I'm worried about Kamara injury and rest season outlook. Is there a chance he sits out rest of season? Your thoughts? I don't think he sits out rest of season. No,
I don't think so either, but he might come back too late to help your team, Annie.
maybe. Just hope you had.
I mean, Tony brought it up earlier when we were talking about that game, like talking about Kamara, and we're concerned about that injury as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do
Yeah.
you think he comes back this year, though, Tony? Hard to say.
I don't know.
mean, we're not
I don't know.
doctors.
I'm worried about him rest of the season because of Ingram. I'm worried about him just in this offense, and I'm a little bit nervous. Yes, I'm a little bit worried about Kamara. Just real quick, because I don't want to backtrack, but just so you're aware, San Francisco right now is in the playoff picture. They're tied for 6th at 5-5. So I think San Francisco has just as good a shot as anybody else in that division to make the playoffs. I like them over Minnesota, and I like them over New Orleans, which are the two of the teams that they're tied with at 5-5.
Speak
So
up
it's possible.
sooner. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
they're more in there than I thought. Granted, I'm a fantasy guy, so real football, meh. Just kidding. Let's see. Would you trade Adams for D-Hop and James Robinson? I lost Aaron Jones till week 14, and AJ Brown isn't solid right now. Would you trade Adams for D-Hop and James Robinson?
I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't. Adams is playing too well.
Just typically speaking, Mr. Sarcastic, good philosophy is never to trade an offensive player who's arguably the number one player at his position for an injured guy. I do love the buy low on D-Hop and James Robinson, but I'm not buying low with Adams. You're paying premium price to get those two players.
Yeah, it's too high.
Alrighty. Do you think Scary Terry has higher upside because Heineke has been doing good, or is it good time to trade Terry away after his great game? Sell high?
I'm not selling high.
I'm not selling high.
He has an awesome schedule.
Yeah, same.
And
go for it.
No, the only other thing that would be helpful to answer that is to kind of know who you might be looking at swapping him out for when you say sell high. I just don't think you're going to get full value for Scary Terry, and I would much rather have him than move him.
Agree.
Yeah. I think Logan Thomas possibly being back this week is only going to help him too. So,
yep.
Right now they're focusing up on him. So,
Bopucks, welcome back. By the way, won this week, got the W. Really sucked. Traded away Mike Evans for Ridley right before AB got hurt and Ridley stopped playing. Wow. That's rough, man.
That's tough.
Sushi Lover wanting some credit for saying that Ayuk was set up for a big week.
Credit to you, Sushi Lover.
Good job, man.
We're not worthy. You should be on this end.
Bopuck, shut up. The literal 1 week I start Higgins at flex, he goes out and scores a huge 3.5 points.
You can't trust anybody but Chase in that.
Show me where Higgins hurt you. Yeah, it's ouch. I know that feeling for sure. Kyle with Dan Arnold kind of feeling the same.
Oh my God.
Thing.
I started Dan Arnold finally, and he got big old nothing burger.
That was rough, man.
Still won the matchup though.
Let's see. Sushi Lover, also a Niners fan. We're gonna do this. Yeah, Niners getting some stuff going there. Really out rest of season?
No clue. Have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not an injury.
He's eligible to come back now.
Yeah, it's not like an injury you can evaluate. It's a totally different situation, so there's really no telling. I'm operating under the assumption that he will be, and I'm not trading for him anywhere.
I'm actually operating under the assumption that he won't because they suck so bad, right? Like say way get right, and I don't know that he'll be back. I don't know if there's a reason for him to come back, but no one knows anything. So
no, that's what I meant. He will be out rest of season.
Oh, got it. Oh yeah. Okay.
That's why when you said he won't, I was confused. I was like,
I don't think he'll be back. Yeah. So I agree. I'm operating under that he will be out rest of season. Yeah. Okay.
English hard. I think Calvin Ridley's ulterior motive is to tank the season for the Atlanta Falcons so they have a high draft pick and get a QB. So
that's not a terrible plan.
That's good for Calvin Ridley's. That's good for Ridley's mental health, right? Getting a good QB.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's bad for his mental health. I could see that.
It's crazy. It's only one game out of the playoffs, so it's not inconceivable that they could still try and make a push, but it's too many question marks. Nothing coming out of Atlanta on Ridley. Nobody knows what to expect with him.
No.
Yep.
The only thing I've seen about it since he, stepped aside is today. They're like, oh, he's eligible to return now. Nobody knows if he will. And that was it. That's it. That's the only news I've seen about it.
Yep. See you, Bopucks. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, have a good night.
Later, Bopucks.
Also, if we have any new viewers that haven't hit that subscribe button or the like button on this video, please do so. It's free. We like hanging out with you. Show us some love back if you like us. If you don't enjoy us, I guess don't do that. But you can give us a thumbs down too for feedback if you don't like us. But just so you know, we're going to keep Kyle on the show, so the thumbs down is not going to get rid of him.
I thought I saw something where they took the dislike button away.
I think it's there. It's just not public anymore.
Oh, I got you.
So,
But we also appreciate seeing all of our normals in here. Our
love it.
Mr. Sarcastic,
Bo
Sushi
Pucks.
Lover, Bo Pucks, Brian Gibbons, Spy Coffee's back. Who
There
else?
was an Albert. Albert's back.
Albert
Love-
Mariquin,
Love
yeah.
seeing Albert back. A New Life. Shout out to New Life.
Edon was in here the other night.
Roy's been in here before.
Jorge.
Yeah, we got
some regulars, man, that all marched for us here today. That was
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate you guys. We all appreciate you guys. And you can always give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're trying to grow and give you a good show that you can enjoy and learn from and interact
also
with.
Mr. Sarcastic. I think I forgot. I missed
No, you
him.
said him. You said him.
So yeah, we got.
But guys, no more questions coming in, and we've been going for a little over an hour and a half now. We flew through those questions.
Good thing Seven moved safe space to before us because we're long-winded.
Well, yeah, but I think we would have been less long-winded had we known.
Questions tonight, though, too.
But had we known we only had the hour, then I think we would have.
I like being open-ended and not having to worry about that.
Same.
Going over.
Same. Alrighty, guys. I think that concludes week 11, and tomorrow we move on to week 12.
Sounds good.
Yeet.
Alrighty, guys. We have a couple shows that aren't going on this week. We'll keep you guys posted on our Instagram. Keep up with that. We'll let you know the lineup every day. But Thanksgiving's messing with some stuff. Family. Jeez, you know. But anyways, thanks for joining us tonight. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good Thanksgiving with your families if we don't talk to you before then.
But we better talk to you before then because we've got some live streams. So
thank you, everyone. Appreciate the support.